Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Arvada City Council meeting for today, July 21st, 2026. Before the council meeting, we have need for a meeting of the Housing Authority, so I will go ahead and call that to order. Ms. Rush, if you'll do the roll call. Here.
Here.
One second, everybody.
Commissioner Ambrose, Commissioner Davis, Commissioner Ambrose.
Here.
Commissioner Davis.
Here.
Commissioner Pfeiffer. Commissioner Griffith.
Here.
Commissioner Levison.
Here. Commissioner Davis.
I'd like to make a motion that Commissioner Pfeiffer be excused from this evening.
All votes are cast. Commissioner Pfeiffer is excused 6-0. Thank you very much. First, we have the approval of the minutes from February 3rd, 2026. Are there any edits or corrections to the record? Seeing none, those stand approved. Next, we have public comment. This would be for public hearing on the draft 2027 PHA plan and administrative plan updates. Is there anyone in the public who would like to give comment at this time? Seeing none, I will turn it over to Ms. Espinoza.
Great. Thank you, Chairperson Simpson. Good evening, Commissioners. The first item under new business is the Housing Authority's annual report. And I'm pleased to report that we've had yet another very successful year with the rental assistance program. Go to the next. As a reminder about the services that we offer through the Arvada Housing Authority, our primary program is the rental assistance program. We have the Housing Choice Voucher Program, which serves low-income families, elderly persons, and veterans, disabled individuals with housing in the private market. We offer project-based rental assistance, which attaches a voucher to a specific unit. This has been very helpful with our new developments, such as Van Street Flats, Ralston Gardens, Legacy Senior Residences. These vouchers have helped provide financial assistance for not only the developer, but it provides a stable unit for those who are in need. And we also have mainstream vouchers, which are vouchers that are specifically designed to offer rental assistance to individuals with disabilities. So those are the three primary vouchers that we do offer. The annual report reports our activities from July of 2025 through June of 2026. And over that 12-month period, we served on average 522 households. We do have a total of 562 vouchers from HUD, but we do not receive enough budget to fund all vouchers, so we are running right at 522. The average annual income for a household in our program is just over $17,000. So we are serving individuals who are at that extremely low income need. Elderly households, households with disabilities comprise more than half of our households. We spent a total of just over $9.1 million in rental assistance over the last 12 months, and the average monthly per unit cost is just over $1,500. We do have a wait list for our assistance. Currently, we have about 3,095 families who do remain on the wait list. We're not able to turn over vouchers at this time because we don't have the funds necessary from HUD, so we might, as families leave the program, we're not always able to pull another family off the list to provide assistance. We have to base it off of the budget that we have. So we have lowered our numbers. This time last year, we were hovering right around 535, and now we're down to 522, just based on budget. The Housing Authority supports the Arvada Housing Strategic Plan, which was adopted by Council in May of 2024. And the Housing Strategic Plan identifies, prioritizes housing goals, policies, and resources to address housing needs in the community. And in that plan, the city identified 9 goals that it wishes to achieve to address housing needs. The Housing Authority strongly supports the goals identified in this plan. In the past year, we leased 8 project-based vouchers at legacy senior residences to provide seniors experiencing homelessness with permanent housing. We are working on an income-restricted housing map, and our goal with this housing map and spreadsheet is that we can track the properties in the community that have income restrictions and those expiration dates, so we can closely monitor as those expiration dates approach and how we might support continuing those income restrictions long-term. We also continue to explore opportunities to partner with developers to include affordable units in new developments and provide financial assistance to support the development and preservation of affordable housing. In regards to addressing homelessness, the Housing Authority is involved with the city's wildly important goal of supporting 65 homeless individuals that frequent Old Town Arvada into housing outcomes by the end of 2026. The Housing Authority supports residents with eviction prevention resources such as rental assistance, budgeting, and financial literacy classes, job placement, benefit application, crisis intervention, which all provide alternatives to eviction hearings. The team has also provided security deposit assistance to support individuals moving into permanent housing. To date, we've paid about a little over $13,000 in security deposit assistance. Our goal by the end of the year is $25,000. We also wanted to highlight the addition of a housing case manager to our team. This is a temporary position that is, we're using some DOLA funds to temporarily fund this position. We added Natalia Carvajal, our case manager, to our team in February of 2026. And her position serves as a liaison between residents and the Housing Authority to support residents with services needed to stabilize their housing situation. As you are aware that it's a significant achievement to support people moving into housing, but there's additional support that's needed once they're housed, and there are life situations that happen where people become unstable, and so the case manager is there to support those individuals to ensure that they remain housed long-term. In a very short amount of time, she's been able to connect individuals to critical services, and you can see based on this slide, the critical services that she's been able to provide in a very short amount of time. We also included some success stories based on Natalia's service to our clientele. I won't go into these at this time, but that is there, and there's some really neat successes based on her work. In terms of the development pipeline, the Housing Authority continues to support developers in building more affordable housing units or preserving affordable housing in Arvada. Our big successes over the last few months is the opening of Marshall Street Landing, which is permanent supportive housing. It's 85 units of permanent supportive housing. We provided a $200,000 grant, and the 85 units from that property will count towards our Prop 123 unit commitment. The next development is Legacy Senior Residences. That is 72 units of senior housing. The Housing Authority provided an $840,000 loan and 8 project-based vouchers to support this development. We also provided a special limited partnership, and this 72 units at this property will count towards our Prop 123 unit commitment. We also have 2 projects that are currently under construction, which is Marshall Point Apartments. That will be 72 units of affordable housing. The Housing Authority provided an $850,000 loan and 8 project-based vouchers. We also offered a special limited partnership to the developer, and 221 units will count towards our Prop 123 commitment, and that project is projected to open in October of 2027. We're hearing from the developer that it might be a little sooner than that. We have a conversation with them next week to see what the latest is regarding that property. And lastly, we have Griffith Station Townhomes. That is 20 units of affordable homeownership units. We provided the land donation for this development, and that will, the 20 units that are built on this site will count towards our Prop 123 commitment. They started accepting applications in April of 2026, and I believe that they're still accepting applications, so anyone interested in Griffith Station Townhomes can contact Habitat for Humanity. And lastly, our budget outlook. When I presented last year, we were in somewhat of a challenging situation in that we were projecting to have a budget shortfall. And I'm very excited to say we're not in that same position this year. We do have sufficient funding to continue to house the participants that we serve. And in fact, we just received word from HUD that we will be able to offer new vouchers in the next coming months. So we're excited about that. As we have families leave, we will be able to turn over those vouchers. So things have greatly improved over the last few months, and we're really excited about that. As far as recommended activities for this coming year, we will continue efficient operation of the Housing Choice Voucher Program. We will continue our work to partner with private developers and nonprofit organizations to support construction and rehabilitation of affordable housing. We will continue to seek additional funding opportunities and partnerships. We will, of course, support the Arvada Housing Strategic Plan. We will implement the Housing Opportunities Through Modernization Act. This is legislation that requires us to make certain updates to our program operations. It's all mandates from HUD, so we will implement those changes over the next few months. And we will also implement a new inspection protocol that has been rolled out by HUD, and our deadline to do so is February of 2027. That concludes the annual report. I'm happy to answer any questions, and also seeking approval of the annual report.
Commissioner Pro Tem Mormon.
Thank you, Chair Simpson.
So weird.
I thank you for this, and I guess my question is, and just making sure I'm not confusing things, but I feel like when we talked about the shortfall last time, we talked about its impact on suburban suites, and am I confusing that with something else?
You said suburban suites?
Yes, the program at Suburban Suites.
Suburban Suites is not part of the rental assistance program.
Correct, but it was, okay, so I'm definitely confusing. What, the funding, can you just remind me, the funding for that?
The funding for suburban studios comes through a state grant through the Department of Local Affairs. It's the Transformational Homelessness Response Grant.
Thank you, okay. Because we were also wanting to get more funding for that. And
yes.
We're still waiting, is that correct?
That specific grant, that transformational grant, does end September 30th of 2026. So we are nearing the end of that grant. And I will let someone from the homelessness, more familiar about the homelessness efforts, respond.
Ms. Scheck.
Thank you, Mayor. Chair, thank you, Commissioner Mormon. We do have a couple of different grant applications in right now. One of them is into the congressionally directed spending, very supportive, highly supported by our senators, but I think we all know that's sitting in the Appropriations Committee right now. There's no real definitive timeline on when that would make it through the federal budget process. And the other is last week was the deadline, the later than originally planned deadline for HUD's notice of funding, the NOFO that came through the region's continuum of care, which is MDHI. So we've also applied to that source for continued transitional housing with supportive services
Okay.
programming.
I
We
knew there was a
won't-
federal component to that, and I was just
Yeah.
trying to remember where that
Yes.
was, so thank you
Yeah,
for
we
that.
won't know for some time,
Okay,
but
thank
we'll
you.
keep an eye on it. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Commissioner Davis.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Ms. Espinoza, for the presentation. I'm buoyed by the fact that there are 20 units that are available for purchase. I am hoping that as we move forward, we can get additional of those types of units so that we can start having our folks who are transitioning to gather some personal wealth so
Yeah.
that into the future we will, we're raising everybody up with the tide and not just the few. So I look forward to seeing in the future more of those for purchase units. But thank you so much for all that the team has done.
Thank you very much.
I see no additional lights, so we may move into the next item, the Arvada Housing Authority PHA Plan for 2027 program year.
Wonderful. The Housing Authority must submit a 5-year Public Housing Authority plan once every 5th Housing Authority fiscal year and an annual plan every year. The plans inform HUD, residents, and the public of strategies that address the needs of people serviced through the programs. The 5-year plan describes the Housing Authority's mission, goals, and objectives, and the annual plan covers policies and procedures. Both are official documents submitted to and reviewed by the local HUD office. The Housing Authority's 5-year plan was approved by HUD in 2025. We submitted an annual plan in 2026, and now it's time to submit our 2027 Housing Authority annual plan, which has been drafted by the housing team. This annual plan states that the Housing Authority will follow goals identified in the Arvada Housing Strategic Plan, which was adopted by City Council on May 20th, 2024. It also includes a progress report on the Housing Authority's progress in supporting the goals, which includes the use of project-based vouchers to support development and exploring land banking opportunities to promote more affordable housing development. The team recommends approval of the PHA plan.
Commissioner Davis.
I'd like to reserve the motion if there's no discussion.
I see no other lights, so the motion is yours.
Okay, I move that the Arvada Housing Authority 2027 annual plan be approved.
All votes are cast. That passes 6-0. Thank you very much. Finally, we have the Housing Choice Voucher Program 2026 Administrative Plan updates.
Thank you. The Housing Choice Voucher Program is designed to provide rental assistance to low-income families. The Housing Choice Voucher Program is funded by the federal government and administered by the Arvada Housing Authority. The Housing Authority enters into an annual contributions contract with HUD to administer the program requirements on behalf of HUD. The Housing Authority must ensure compliance with federal laws, regulations, and notices, and must establish policies and procedures to clarify federal requirements and to ensure consistencies in program operation. The Housing Authority Housing Choice Voucher Program Administrative Plan contains the Housing Authority's policies and procedures. We made an update to these policies and procedures based on HUD recommendations and mandates. The majority, I'm sorry, I already said that part. So the majority of the revisions are mandated by HUD to ensure compliance with new laws and federal standards. There is a summary of the proposed changes in your packet, and if there are no questions, the team recommends approval of the administrative plan updates.
Commissioner Davis.
I would like to make the motion.
Take it
Let
away.
me get there. I move that the Arvada Housing Authority 2026 Housing Choice Voucher Program Administrative Plan updates be approved.
All votes are cast. That passes 6-0. Thank you very much. That's all the business we have this evening for the Arvada Housing Authority. As always, thank you very much, Ms. Espinoza. Oh, sorry,
I gotta
one
jump
additional
real quick.
item.
I think that we do need a motion to approve the annual report as
Oh.
well, and I didn't hear that, maybe I missed it,
Sorry,
but I just
nope,
wanted to
we
make sure we're
didn't,
on
we
top of it.
didn't. So, somebody could give me a motion for approving the annual report. Councilmember Davis, or Commissioner Davis.
I move that we approve the 2026 Housing Report.
The 2025-2026 annual report.
Yes,
There we go.
thank you.
All right, all votes are cast. That passes 6-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That is all the business we have for the Arvada Housing Authority meeting. Ms. Espinoza, thank you very much as always. All right, great work from the housing team. All right, I will close the Housing Authority and reopen as the Arvada City Council meeting for today, July 21st, 2026. Councilmember Levison, you have the reflection and Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you so much. Please join me for a moment of silence. Thank you. Please rise if you are able and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you very much. Ms. Rush, if you'll do the roll call one more time.
Mayor Simpson.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Mormon.
Here.
Councilmember Ambrose.
Here.
Councilmember Davis.
Here.
Councilmember Pfeiffer. Councilmember Griffith.
Here.
Councilmember Levison.
Here.
Councilmember Davis.
I move that we excuse Councilmember Pfeiffer from this evening's events.
Thank you. All votes are cast. That passes 6-0. Councilmember Pfeiffer is an excused absence. All right, we have no minutes to approve this evening and no recognitions. We do have one item that was not previously on the agenda. Usually we do require a 24 hours notice, but as presiding officer, I'm going to go ahead and allow it since they are here with us today. Our audit committee had its meeting earlier this afternoon, and we would love to invite them up to give a quick presentation so that the public is aware of the audit findings. So come on up, everybody. Turn it over to our Director of Finance, Brian Archer.
Thank you, Mayor and Council, and I apologize for the mistake on the presentation. I'd like to introduce Josh and Stacy from Plant Moran. They're part of the audit firm that did our external audit this year, and they have a few words for you. Thank you.
Welcome. We're happy you're here.
Thank you very much. Very happy to be here. We're here today to present a couple things. As you mentioned, we presented to the audit committee already in detail, so we're going to be presenting at a high level here. First of all, I want to start by thanking Brian and Vesta and Deb and the whole team. This is a very large undertaking. This is almost a 200-page financial statement. There's a lot of work that goes into that and a lot of audit work that goes into that as well. So very much appreciate their cooperation and help. We couldn't have done it without them. The next point I want to make is that the financials have an unmodified opinion, also known as a clean opinion. So this is the highest level of assurance that we can give that the financial statements are properly stated and in line with all rules and regulations. So the city should be happy about that. I also want to talk about the single audit. So this is the audit of the federal awards. So the various federal expenditures, we have to perform audit procedures on that. That also had an unmodified opinion. There were $11.4 million of federal expenditures in 2025 from the city of Arvada. We tested the housing voucher cluster, which totaled $9.9 million of that $11.4 million of expenditures. As far as the report card on that, no findings as it relates to the single audit. There are a lot of compliance requirements as you go through this, so that's very admirable that there were no findings as it relates to that. On the financial statements, there is one item there. There is a material weakness as it relates to the Arvada Urban Renewal Authority. There was a segregation of duties as it relates to cash disbursements. I do want to point out that because it was at the authority and the authority is part of the city, that does have to be reflected as part of the city's reports here. I do want to emphasize that we did not note any such transactions occurring, but it was the possibility that we have to report, and also that management has represented that that has been fixed and corrected since then. The last item I want to cover is the end of audit letter. So we would have sent a letter at the beginning of this process indicating our plan for the audit. Had anything deviated from that plan, this is the letter where we would cover that. But as I mentioned before, the audit went very well, so no deviations, no differences of opinion, disagreements, things like that. There are a couple items mentioned in there that we call past adjustments. So these are items that both we and management agree are immaterial, but were not recorded in the financials, so those are in there as well. And then finally, there are some items for your reading pleasure if you need a little help falling asleep at night, or if you just want to get a little more into the weeds of upcoming accounting pronouncements and things like that, you can read that. We will be working with the finance team to make sure that the city is ready for those when those come available.
All right, thank you very much. Are there any members of council who have questions for the auditors? Seeing none, thank you very much for your work.
Thank you very much.
All right. And Mr. Archer, thanks to you and the entire team for all your hard work as well. I know that's not a particularly easy or necessarily fun duty, but it's an incredibly important one, so thank you. All right, next we have public comment. This is the 3-minute public comment for items not scheduled on this evening's agenda. I think many of you know the rules, but I'll do some quick housekeeping. This is, you get 3 minutes. This is your opportunity to talk to us, your elected representatives. We always request that you please not try to talk to anyone who may be in chambers or watching at home on camera. We also always ask that we maintain decorum in chambers simply because we want this to be a welcoming environment for anyone regarding of whatever their opinion may be. That means no applauding, no booing. We don't want anyone to ever feel like they're being intimidated or whatnot because they may disagree with what the sentiments of others in chambers may be. Otherwise, name and address or neighborhood when you get up to the microphone, and we'll take it away. First, we have Tim Hall.
Good evening, Council. My name is Tim Hall. I live at 10784 West 63rd Place, Arvada. Before my comment, I would like to thank the Council and staff for the enthusiasm they have for their work. It is obvious that your work brings you pleasure. A large portion of the founders of those who traveled to America to find a new start were Pilgrims, Puritans, and Quakers. For all three groups, the Bible was not just a religious book. It shaped their ideas about morality, family, education, community life, and their understanding of their purpose in the world. Their strong commitment to Scripture was one of the major reasons some left Europe and crossed the Atlantic seeking a place where they could live according to their beliefs. We see the influence that the Bible had on the entire process of creating a free republic. John Adams famously wrote, "Our Constitution was made only for a moral and religious people. It is wholly inadequate to govern and the government of any other." If we throw out the moral law of the Old Testament's 10 Commandments and live like we can do anything we want because I live by my truth and you live by your truth, we are marching towards chaos. During the early years of our nation, Congress issued several days of prayer, fasting, and thanksgiving, calling on the people to seek God's guidance, confess wrongdoing, and give thanks. Many members of the founding generation were deeply familiar with the Bible, and many of the nation's founders believed that the Bible was God's inspired word. And since God is immutable, he cannot change, and veracious, he cannot lie, his word must also be, if it is read and studied in context. If we pick and choose the phrases and thoughts that we like from the Bible and ignore the others, we are not treating the Bible correctly. Truth has been defined as logically consistent, empirically adequate, emotionally relevant. In other words, it is consistent, fits the facts, and one can live by its teachings. I believe that every political leader should know his or her Bible and realize that going against this teaching is neither wise nor prudent. Something to think about.
Thank you, Mr. Hall. Next, we have Colleen O'Malley.
Thank you. Hi, all. I'm Colleen O'Malley, and I live at 6714 Newland Street. I've lived and owned there for more than 15 years. The first year I learned about Frontline, it was far too late to join their veggie share, so I joined up for their flower share. Their flowers are gorgeous, diverse, and help the local pollinators. In 2022, I started getting a veggie share. I've had a membership in a few CSAs over the years and have enjoyed them all. Frontline has been the most community-focused and the most communicative by a long shot. This week, I made sautéed bok choy with chicken over rice, I made beet and goat cheese salads, and I made pickled turnips. I know I can't go to a grocery store and get the variety and the quality that I get from Frontline. I try the whole rest of the year and it doesn't happen. Have you ever had fresh harvested garlic? Because it's amazing. We got some last week from the CSA. I feed the people I love with these vegetables, and I vote. And I know I voted for some of you, and I want to vote for people who ensure that Arvada has these sorts of resources that Frontline provides. Don't take that away from me, and don't take it away from all of the other people who feed Frontline or feed the people that they love with Frontline vegetables. Be the kind of people I want to vote for and keep Frontline at Majestic View. It would be foolish to sever ties with an organization that pours so much of itself back into the community and into Arvada. Please keep Frontline here and let me get back to enjoying cooking on Tuesday nights instead of public speaking. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next, we have Mindy Moore.
Mindy Moore, 11570 West 70th Place. Good evening. First, I want to thank you for your service to our city. I know it's sometimes very long hours and not a lot of pay. I've lived in Arvada for almost 30 years, and I'm leaving our city with gratitude and sadness. In the last 5 to 10 years, I've seen you on council, our incredible city team, your wonderful city employees, and a robust group of resident volunteers. You've all accomplished a lot. Some of the areas dear to my heart include the development and hopefully preservation of more affordable housing, as we heard in the excellent presentation by Carrie Espinoza a few minutes ago. Better working with our partners to help our unhoused neighbors, important investments in our critical utilities, adopting a citywide climate and sustainability action plan, and in maintaining Arvada's reputation as a great place to live. I know that there's still many challenges ahead, especially with this economic climate. We're a city that depends upon sales tax, not property tax, to fund many of our city needs, and we continue, to have challenges bringing in the largest businesses or large employers. There are challenges funding our city infrastructure, such as our roads, our aging city buildings, or our older computer software systems. I truly hope that by educating your residents on these challenges, they will understand the city needs and support any future solutions that you may propose. As part of that resident education, I also believe that one of your biggest challenges is demonstrating the integrity of our city government. In these polarized times, many residents do not trust federal or state governments, but they still maintain faith in their local government. It touches their daily lives. Earlier this year, you authorized 2 ethics investigations, which I believe were funded by our taxpayers out of the general fund. I was unfortunately involved in identifying one of those and providing evidence. Residents have not yet learned the resolution of these ethics investigations or seen the final reports. I truly hope that when you soon take whatever action is appropriate, you will remember that your constituents, the people who voted for you, are counting on you for honesty, accountability, and that they expect your continued integrity on City Council. Thank you for allowing me to speak, and I wish our city the best.
Thank you very much. Next, we have Derek Hammer.
Hello, Derek Hammer, 13937 West 65th Drive. Hello, Council. Hello, Mayor. Thank you for having me here today. I'm here to speak about frontline farming and why I believe it is important for us to invest in frontline farming going forward. I want a city that combats that combats historical and structural racism through specific anti-racist acts. And so speaking to that, anti-racism isn't just a mindset or a belief structure. It's material acts that have impact on the people that are being decided for there. And going forward, I think that investing in frontline farming in whatever way, and not necessarily through overturning anything or rehashing the conflicts that had happened before, but by perhaps looking at a new lease or a new way to involve frontline farming in Arvada going forward is one of those anti-racist acts and pushes us towards a more anti-racist future. The second thing that I want to comment on the frontline farming is it's important to invest in food systems here in Arvada. This morning I was at what was it called? Metro Caring, yes, which is similar to Community Table. It's a food bank downtown in Denver. And this morning we were throwing out hundreds of pounds of food because they were coming from grocery stores sourced from Taylor Farms, which is where a lot of the parasite is coming from. And so, Taylor Farms is, of course, is a big packager of produce, but also is a private label for nearly every grocery store here in Arvada. And frontline farming, their produce does not have this issue. So if we keep investing in these local community farms, we can break that cycle and make ourselves more resilient and more safe going forward. And that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, we have Juan Ramon Quezada. I apologize if I mispronounced that. I did good? Thank you.
Amazing. Hello, my name is Juan Ramon Quezada. Just call me Ramon. I live at 9090 West 68th Avenue. I'm here to respectfully ask the City Council to pause their decision on renewing the lease for frontline farmers and to convene a mediation process on this issue. As an Arvadan, I see both frontline farmers and their host, Majestic View Park, along with its beautiful nature center, as absolute treasures for the Scenic Heights neighborhood and for Arvada and the metro area in general. It's been very difficult to see these two organizations whose missions I believe in at odds with each other. I have heard from folks on both sides of this issue, and as is often the case in these situations, it is nearly impossible to take each allegation at its proponent's word without simply succumbing to some permanent or some momentary bias. I believe in the work of community building, but it's not always easy work, and that is why the surest path to fairness is not hearsay and undocumented finger-pointing, but open communication based on transparent, well-documented processes. That's why I'm asking City Council to not finalize this decision yet, but to shed more light on the process through mediation and public-friendly transparency. I absolutely do not in any way mean to impugn council members with an aversion to transparency. I simply mean to add another voice in alerting the council that this particular issue has now acquired in our community a greater need for transparency than might have been expected. By far most of the folks I've spoken to in Scenic Heights, new and longtime residents, Republicans and Democrats, they all want, well, most of them, by far most of them, want frontline farmers as our neighbors. And I'm sure that if a fair and transparent process does result in a lease renewal for frontline farmers, which should of course not be a foregone conclusion, this will only strengthen both organizations, frontline farmers and the park and its nature center. And it will also strengthen and enrich our city at large. Thank you, council members. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Next, we have Sarah Kreider. Sorry.
Good evening. My name is Sarah Kreider, and I live in Scenic Heights. I'm here to speak to you about my love of frontline farming and my hope that this council might reverse the decision to revoke the farm's lease. The City of Arvada posts online that the Arvada Council has a five-part strategic alignment. That alignment includes homelessness, housing, local economy, physical and technology systems, and quality of life. Frontline farming's philosophy and strategies fit neatly into the council's alignment. People experiencing homelessness struggle to afford food. In 2025, the farm donated 11,000 pounds of produce to food banks. They use a sliding scale to support community members who can't afford to pay the full share amount. The Arvada Council values supporting the local economy. Frontline farming supports the local economy by eliminating the middleman and keeping money circulating within the community. It's making me think of Taylor Farms, and I could speak to that as well, but CSAs are a beautiful thing for our local economy. The council values supporting quality of life. The farm has done that for my family and many other community members. They have several gatherings that the community is welcome to join every summer. My family has attended 4 of these gatherings, and since we moved to the neighborhood, and we have gotten to know the farmers, enjoyed eating family-style meals, and learned more about the farm and the passion that keeps it going. My family has been receiving a weekly vegetable box for the past 2 years. I've belonged to other CSAs in the Denver area, and I've never had such fresh or unique vegetables as I do with Frontline Farming. The food my family has made with the fruits of their labors has fed us both in body and soul. Finally, I'd like to touch on the importance of having a farm run by people of color. I know of several community members, including my own family, who have felt profiled because of the color of their skin. Living and working among people of color is crucial because representation breaks down barriers. An Arvada farm run and worked by people of color ensures that our community reflects the diverse reality of the world and provides visible role models that result in trust and empathy. I really value the time that you've taken to listen to me, and I hope you can take what I've said into account. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, we have Pat Malone.
Good evening. I'm Pat Malone. I live in Westwoods in Arvada. Almost a year ago, I saw a Facebook post on the City of Westminster's page that got my attention. There was a photo showing Councilmember Hott presenting a proclamation recognizing Hispanic Heritage Month, something the article says it observes annually from September 15th to October 15th. One of our Arvada Immigrant Partnership team members submitted a simple proclamation online to honor for one day the legacy of the immigrants in our own community. The verbal response she got was that City Council won't do, quote, politically controversial proclamations. I really don't know how far up the food chain this request actually got. And if any of you are even aware that someone submitted the request, it was not me, and that it was denied. So I would like to read the verbiage to you now. Whereas the United States is a nation founded by immigrants who left behind everything and everyone they knew to build a better life, and whereas immigrants from all over have chosen to forge their bright futures in Arvada and contribute innumerable tangible and intangible things to our economy, culture, history, and community, and whereas immigrants make up more than 5% of the population of the city of Arvada, be it resolved that July 7th be recognized as Immigrant Appreciation Day, where Arvada appreciates and honors the legacy of the immigrants who came before, celebrates the immigrants who improve our lives today, and welcomes new immigrants into our community. I think this is beautiful, and I will resubmit the request directly to Council by email, with a new date, obviously. It's my hope that, similar to the June proclamations that honored both the Arvada LGBTQ plus and African American communities, and that stated the importance of a welcoming and safe community for all, where everyone is valued, that you'll be proud to also honor our immigrant neighbors. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Diego Rodriguez.
Good evening. My name is Diego Manuel Rodriguez. I'm a Arvada resident. I'm here to advocate for frontline farming. My roots in this work run deep. My mother's a labor rights attorney for farm workers. Growing up, I visited farms all over Colorado, educating workers on the safety standards they're entitled to. During those visits, I saw the miserable, unsafe conditions they faced, working long days while being sprayed with pesticides and no shade or restrooms. I've never imagined I would become a farmer myself, but thanks to frontline farming, I'm blessed to work at Majestic View every morning. And I can tell you with certainty, we are safe and we are respectful of this land. I also know from my experience that frontline farming leads the state in safe working conditions. We employ social workers across Colorado to provide health services to our farm workers. And we run our own youth programs, an institution that values safety. That is why we were shocked when the city sought to remove us. When we questioned the rationale of one city worker, we were told that the safety issues in this city that the city had released had been redacted. We were told we were great members of the community. So when we asked, why don't you want our farm here? And we were met with the devastating answer, we want farmers, just not you guys. When we pressed for clarification, the response turned hostile. So now you want to threaten me. Let me be clear, we never claimed race. We never called anyone racist. We simply asked for justification, and this person could not give any. They claimed it was about the people, but when questioned, they became defensive. Then the city released a webpage to save face for a card we never intended to play. And now that same person has dramatically escalated the city's involvement, and you guys are now claiming to take no part in city management? If not you, then who? Are you really going to leave the decision making to someone who set out to remove us before even learning who we are, what we stand for? We invited these people to the farm. They had not one care for the work we do, only for what was written on our lease. That visit ended early because their intentions were already decided. This same person ended a 6-year relationship with the community within days, without even listening to us. They worked to end our relationship with Arvadians, no longer allowing us to use the driveway connected to our garage because it's not within our lease, as well as the classroom. We now teach our classes at our farm outside of Arvada. Council members, we are now asking for special treatment. We are asking you to see the value we bring, to question the motives of those who tear us down, and to remember who we are, your neighbors, your stewards, and a family that has always fought for the dignity of the land and the people who work for it. So please, work with us. Thank you.
Thank you. That's all the signups I have this evening. Is there anyone else in chambers who would like to give public comment at this time? Seeing none, I will close the oh, there is one. Oh, come on down. Sorry, I didn't see your hand. Come on down. I will request that you fill out one of these speaker forms for Ms. Rush before you leave tonight.
Oh, yes, of course.
Thank you.
So my name is Frank Ferranero. I'm the manager of Penzi Spices at 7511 Grandview Avenue in Old Town Arvada. When I was a teenager growing up in Colorado Springs, I always was taught that one day you will find a world where you can just be surrounded by just art and culture, and all you do is get to talk about good food and the different types of ethnic backgrounds and different types of music and dance. And I was told that Arvada was a hub for that. Believing that as a teenager, I was so surprised when I did get to become an adult and come up here and participate in that. And I'm so grateful that with all the work that I do get to manage this company, and I do get to be plugged into this beautiful community and a part of this wonderful company and business. We've been within the plaza for over 20 years. So as far as sales tax dollars goes, you've got them, and we're happy that we're able to do it in such a wonderful community that we're able to serve. But a big part of our mission is being able to connect other people who have any type of either food insecurity or any type of food abundance. And we've been very privileged in not only the ways that we've been able to partner with our neighbors, but in being able to connect our other neighbors with the resources that they already share, but they might somehow feel isolated with because they're bogged down in their own work, or they're stuck within their own locale, or are unfamiliar with new and old neighbors that are coming and going. So while we hear all of these constant talks about budget cuts and deficits and difficulties with this, that, and different types of departments being slashed, manpower issues, I would love it if there are more issues or more situations in which our community can encourage people who do have resources that can pool them together while our government offices might be working at some sort of a deficit. So like I said, I do manage a spice shop, and this meeting did start with one of our wonderful community members who's been here for ages, who started it with scripture. Coming from a spice shop and coming from a Christian perspective, I do believe that faith the size of a mustard seed can move mountains. And my company has been able to do that for quite a while now, whether we've worked with the Rising Church, the Arvada Veggie Van, whether working with the Arvada Gardeners. So whether it's getting people food, we've been able to do that. But in this breadth of time that we've existed without any other support, just us pooling our community resources, we've been able to help our other organizations that have more time to dedicate to it, to not only turn food into how can we nourish hungry people, how can we make housing more accessible? Now that you have food and housing more accessible, how can we get your children more invested in their school? Now, how can we get them more invested in their extracurriculars, because now they don't have to work or provide childcare? So while we're dealing with these issues of budget cuts and what we can't do, I would love it if the council would try to put a bit more effort into how the citizens and how the community can volunteer with themselves, how they're already doing, and perhaps do it as well where those of us who do have privilege or corporate dollars behind ourselves can combine those resources to help serve this community that we all love. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Is there anyone else in chambers who would give public comment at this time? Seeing none, I will close the public comment on portion of this evening's agenda, and I will open us up. We have had a request to remove R26-052 from the consent agenda, so we're going to go ahead and do that so we can give some context on that item. That leaves us with one item on the consent agenda, so basically we're just taking them one at a time tonight. So first I will open R26-051, a resolution authorizing a communications site lease amendment by and between the City of Arvada and T-Mobile West LLC, formerly Clearwire LLC, 7710 Reno Drive. Councilmember Levison.
I'd just like to reserve the motion.
Go ahead, do
because
it.
It's consent. Okay. I move that item R26-051 be approved.
All votes are cast. That passes 6-0. Thank you very much. Next, we have R26-052, a resolution authorizing an Adams County open space grant agreement regarding the Tennyson Complete and Connected Corridor. And I'd like to ask one of our city attorneys, Zach Woolweaver, to give a little context on this item.
Thank you, Your Honor, for the opportunity to speak on R2652. Just for a brief history of this item, back in July 31st of 2018, the city approved a grant agreement from the Adams County Open Space Department, wherein we accepted roughly $1.645 million. In exchange, we would do roughly 66% of the scoped project work. In 2022, so roughly 4 years after the execution of that original grant, the Adams County Public Works Department decided to take back some of the items originally reserved to Arvada under that grant. Then, in March 3rd of this year, March 3rd, 2026, Council approved the R26020. This was a resolution authorizing a modification to Adams County Open Space Grant Agreement there was a complicated number that I won't read out loud for fear of messing it up, just to memorialize the understanding that Adams County is taking back that 66%, or not the 66, but those items that were modified in 2022, and diminishing the grant that Arvada originally received by a commensurate amount, which is roughly $625,000. It's a little bit underneath. Since Arvada's passage of R2620, the Adams County has requested that we assist in the facilitation of rescinding and reissuing that grant, and that is what council is considering before them tonight. R2652 is a faithful translation of the modification that you've already approved in March, and with that, the Arvada team recommends the City Council approve R2652, a resolution authorizing the Adams County Open Space Agreement regarding the Tennyson Complete and Connected Corridor.
All right, Councilmember Levison.
Just like to reserve the motion.
Go ahead.
And are we moving this? But is
Yeah,
this the
just
moving
move-
off portion or?
No, just move to approve R26-052.
And so I move that consent item R26-052 be approved.
All votes are cast. That passes 6-0. Thank you very much. We have one resolution this evening, and that is R26-053, a resolution authorizing approval of an intergovernmental agreement establishing the Clear Creek Trail Collaborative. Mr. Darren DeLay from Parks and Urban Design Manager. I believe you have this item. Hey, Darren.
Great, thank you, and good evening, Council. I'm Darren DeLay, the Parks and Urban Design Manager. I'm losing my voice. I've been screaming at Frisbee teammates all weekend, so bear with me. I want to take this opportunity to speak to the IGA associated with the Clear Creek Trail Collaborative and Arvada's role in that collaborative. At the highest level, the IGA establishes clear governance, decision-making, and voting structures. It establishes the quarterly meetings and the annual strategic planning, and it makes a formal commitment to the Clear Creek Trail name and branding. The IGA further ensures that member agencies maintain a continued commitment to the branding, construction, maintenance, and management of the trail without committing any agency to financial contributions. To that end, the City of Arvada is identified as an advisory agency on the Clear Creek Trail Collaborative and manages the trails, parks, and waterways that intersect the Clear Creek corridor within the city limits, with the exceptions outlined within an existing IGA with the City of Wheat Ridge. Because of trail access limitations for Arvada, meaning that we can't cross the City of Wheat Ridge property by road, the City of Wheat Ridge has historically maintained the entirety of the Clear Creek Trail segment in this area, whether the trail falls within Wheat Ridge or Arvada city limits. And I have maps that can show this that I could put on there if we need to see that as an image. The city has that existing IGA with the City of Wheat Ridge for maintenance of the Clear Creek Trail, which sets forth the obligations for each in the maintenance of the public improvements and landscaping of that property. That particular IGA was executed on March 4th, 2026 by both the City of Arvada and the City of Wheat Ridge. The term for that particular agreement is for 5 years, ending in March 4th, 2031. So how have we arrived at this particular IGA that's on the resolution tonight? In 2016, as part of the Colorado the Beautiful initiative, former Governor John Hickenlooper designated the Clear Creek Trail as one of 16 critical trails in Colorado, serving nearly 3 million residents and countless visitors. The nearly 65-mile trail is the quintessential Colorado experience. The trail covers 3 geographic regions specifically: the 19.6-mile plain segment, which is where Arvada and Wheat Ridge are located, the 16.7-mile canyon segment, and the 29.5 mile mountain segment. It follows Clear Creek in a 1-mile drop in elevation as it traverses majestic mountains, dramatic canyons, picturesque cities, and golden prairies. The trail provides safe and equitable access to nature while transporting visitors to some of Colorado's most spectacular natural environments. The Plains Partners specifically convened in 2023 through a series of partner interviews to understand local priorities and 3 in-person workshops focused on the visioning, prioritizing, and actionizing. The Clear Creek Trail Collaborative is a voluntary group of member agencies including municipalities and counties that manage portions of the 65-mile Clear Creek Trail, formerly known as the Peaks to Plains Trail in Jefferson County, from the South Platte River in Adams County to Loveland Pass in Clear Creek County. The collaborative is a partnership of 15 local, regional, and state agencies working together to coordinate planning, connectivity, maintenance, and implementation efforts along the 65-mile corridor. The collaborative advances shared infrastructure priorities, strengthens regional coordination, and supports strategic investments that improve connectivity, access, and long-term stewardship across that corridor. The Clear Creek Trail Collaborative, that's a mouthful, is further divided into trail managing agencies and advisory agencies. The trail managing agencies are defined as agencies that currently manage built sections of the Clear Creek Trail. The advisory agencies are defined as agencies that manage trails, land, and/or waterways that intersect with the Clear Creek Trail. All agencies participate within the collaborative, though only the trail managing agencies are voting members. Participants span the entire length of the trail and represent all segments of the trail, the plains, the canyon, and the mountain. I'll identify the trail managing agencies as Adams County, the City of Wheat Ridge, City of Golden, Jefferson County, Clear Creek County, City of Idaho, Springs, Town of Georgetown, and Town of Silver Plume. Again, those are also the voting members. The non-voting members and advisory agencies are City and County of Denver, us, City of Arvada, Apex Park and Rec District, Prospect Recreation and Park District, Mile High Flood District, CDOT, and Colorado Parks and Wildlife. It is important that there is a collaborative because it formalizes long-standing collaboration from 2023 into a structured, accountable partnership. Opportunity for creation of corridor-wide project prioritization and tracking tools. It's an opportunity to coordinate and support collaborative grant pursuits, letters of support, and coordinated advocacy. It builds trust and transparency between the partners. And it's an opportunity for resource sharing and knowledge of collaboration. It elevates statewide and not just regional significance. The types of decisions that the collaborative makes include developing standards for the trail, including standards for trail surfaces, trail widths, pavement types, maintenance, management of the trail, consistent visitor experience. It also develops a unified branding strategy that includes logos, marketing, public information sharing, such as branding for the wayfinding signage, trail courtesy signage, etc. And it addresses shared issues and concerns such as e-devices, hours of operation, trail courtesy, public safety concerns, and other visitor experience-related topics. As for strategic alignment, this IGA achieves the strategic goal of ensuring that all Arvadans have equal access to quality parks and trails that provide diverse, affordable recreation opportunities and clean, safe, and healthy environments through strategic design and land acquisition. The financial impacts of this IGA. The collaborative is not a separate legal entity, and there is no financial commitment. Agencies involved in the collaborative commit to attending regularly quarterly meetings and participating in discussions. Agencies further commit to working together to advance the goals of the collaborative. However, agencies do not commit to any financial obligations or convey any ownership or real property interests as a result of this membership. For any projects to apply to the full corridor or to all members, members may contribute an amount to be determined on a case-by-case basis under separate agreements. The Arvada team would recommend that City Council approve this resolution.
Thank you. Councilmember Davis?
Yes, I'd like to reserve the motion if there's no discussion.
Councilmember Ambrose, you have a question?
I wanted to reserve the motion.
No. All right. Sorry, Councilmember Davis, beat you to it.
No one wants to talk about it?
No one wants to talk about it. I see no additional lights.
Well, I'm very excited about this. I know that it's been a long time in the making. I used to be on the Arvada Park Advisory Committee for the longest time, and we always talked about this regionality and getting everybody together and having common signage as far as wayfinding. So I'm very excited about this. So I'm happy to move that R26-053 resolution authorizing the approval of an intergovernmental agreement establishing the Clear Creek Trail Collaborative be approved.
All votes are cast. That passes 6-0. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you.
It sounds like you had a more fun weekend than I did.
No. 104 outside here. It's a tough time to be running.
All right. So we have no first readings this evening, and so I will go ahead and hand it over to Councilmember Levison for the appointments to the Old Town Business Improvement District Board.
Thank you so much. Before we move on, I'd just like to recognize the members of the Business Improvement District, or BID, board, and the city staff who support them. Our board members are local business owners who give their time to help strengthen Old Town Arvada while balancing the very demanding job of running a business. So thank you. We appreciate you. As council's liaison, I've seen firsthand the thoughtfulness and care and creativity they bring to this work. And I'd also like to thank our staff for their partnership and support behind the scenes. Your dedication makes this all possible. Thank you for all your continued service to both of you, to our community. And with that, I move to appoint Scott Spears, Debbie Hansen, and Frank Farinaro, I'm sorry, I should have listened to the pronunciation a little bit better, to the Old Town Business Improvement District Board, effective immediately for a 3-year term ending April 25th, 2029.
All votes are cast. That passes 6-0. Congratulations, Ms. Hansen, Mr. Spears, and Mr. Farinaro. All right, that moves us, I will go ahead into our public hearings for this evening. Our first public hearing is on the City of Arvada Draft Consolidated Annual Performance Evaluation Report for HUD programs. Ms. Espinoza, I believe you have this item.
Thank you, Mayor. The Consolidated Annual Performance and Evaluation Report, or CAPER report, is a yearly report required by HUD. It allows states, local jurisdictions, and organizations to outline their accomplishments and progress toward affordable housing and community development goals using federal funding. The City of Arvada is required to submit its CAPER report on the Community Development Block Grant to HUD by August 31st, 2026. The report provides a summary of the city's accomplishments from June 1st, 2025 to May 31st, 2026. A draft of the report was included in the agenda packet, and Mayor, if you don't mind opening it up to public comment, I'd appreciate it.
Absolutely. Is there any public comment on this item? Seeing none, I will close the public comment on this item. Open it to council questions or action. Oh, there's no action on this item. All right. Well, there we go. So we're moving on. Then I will open CB 26-021, an ordinance approving the renewal of a non-exclusive franchise agreement for the use of city rights-of-way with Comcast of California, Colorado, Florida, Oregon, Inc., ordinance number 4937. Zachary Woolbeaver, Assistant City Attorney, you have this item.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'll be presenting this item. Yes, I did just want to recognize briefly a number of other people in the room. Ken Fellman, named partner at Wilson Williams Fellman Dittman, is also here. He was our outside counsel representing the city on this agreement, as well as a number of the members of our infrastructure team, and then Joe Stanok, who is Comcast representative here. I'm going to butcher his title, but I think it's the Community and Government Operations Coordinator. So without further ado, I just wanted to highlight a couple of the key factors that council should be considering when considering the renewal of Comcast cable franchise renewal. A very brief legal history for the both public and council's benefit. In 1984, Congress passed the Cable Communications Policy Act. I'm going to refer to that act a number of times throughout this presentation as the Cable Act. This defined local government's authority to grant cable franchise agreements. To be clear, we were, including Arvada, local governments were granting cable franchises under a number of different names, including cable permits, things like that, before this, but the Cable Act sort of set the rules of engagement moving forward. Additionally, the Federal Communications Commission, I'm going to refer to them as the FCC, they have the authority to interpret the Cable Act and will occasionally release new reports or orders that are binding to cities and local governments that are issuing cable franchises. In many cases, especially recently, those orders have been to the city's detriment. So you will hear about a few of those today. And additionally, just as like a overview of cable franchises, This is a pretty comprehensive agreement as to how Comcast, a cable service provider, may access our right-of-way to install cable services and the terms by which they are able to offer those services to residents of the city. And in return, we collect a franchise fee, which is no greater than 5% of their gross revenue per month of cable services. Specifically regarding this agreement, in 1995, the city entered into a cable franchise with Mountain States Video. They were then doing business as TCI. Throughout the term of that agreement, which was initially expected to expire in September of 2010, the agreement was transferred to AT&T and then thereafter to Comcast, and thus our relationship with Comcast began. That agreement, while we were working out a renewal, was extended by amendment several times and eventually ended up expiring sometime in 2015. The newer version of that agreement was executed in 2016, and that is the agreement that I'm going to refer to several times during this presentation as the current cable franchise. That franchise agreement did expire in July of 2025, which is roughly a year ago, obviously. And since then, we have been proceeding under the terms of the current franchise for roughly a year on a month-to-month basis. As a quick side stop, the Comcast has requested that we renew the franchise, and they did that in a timely way. That is governed by the Cable Act. There's a whole administrative process, but we, as both the local government authority and Comcast, the cable service provider, elected to skip that over and enter into friendly negotiations. The negotiations have been thorough and they have been lengthy. Obviously, this agreement has been pending on a month-to-month basis for the better part of a year. That's not to say that it was contentious. It was a collaborative and open negotiation throughout the entire time. Some of the factors that have contributed to the length of that negotiation, though, like I said, the FCC has been changing the rules several times within the last decade or so during the term of the current franchise, and that has required some reevaluation of the terms that would have otherwise been carried over from the current to the proposed franchise. Additionally, obviously, cable services and the television industry as a whole has undergone several changes, pretty significant technological advancements and just industry trends that have changed over the past decade. And then finally, both between the city and Comcast, as well as our outside counsel, Wilson Williams, we have had some turnover that, depending on their role in the negotiations, could have set things back quite a bit. That said, though, we have arrived at a proposed franchise that is before council today for your consideration. And I would like to highlight a couple of changes between the current and the proposed. The good news is, between the current and the proposed, largely the city's behavior has remained the same. Our obligations and the way we behave with regards to Comcast has not changed very much. But a couple of key things that have changed to our benefit I do want to highlight. Access fees or PEG fees, public education and government fees. Those fees are collected under both agreements with a slightly different model. PEG fees, though, are used to assist us, the city, in providing access to public information, educational information, government information, like KATV, our television channel. Some of the PEG fees collected under the current agreement, I believe, are currently upgrading the technology in this room. So that sort of thing, anything that helps us get our message out there. Under the current agreement, we collected 50 cents per subscriber to cable services per month. Under the proposed franchise, that model is changing to our benefit. We are instead going to start collecting 0.33% of Comcast's monthly gross revenue for cable services per month. The thrust of that is that over the last decade or so, with the rise of streaming services, cable subscriptions have declined. With an aggregate number of subscribers going down, 50 cents per subscriber, we're seeing a pretty significant decline in PEG fees as well. in the same timeline, cable subscription costs have increased. So going to a 33 or 0.33% model of their monthly revenue protects the city against a steep decline that we've already been experiencing with PEG fees. In the immediate future, we should expect an increase from what we collected over the last year, but as the cable services subscriptions continue to decline, the PEG fee revenue will eventually decline as well. Insurance policy minimums have increased hugely under this agreement. In the current franchise, Comcast was required to maintain any number of insurance policies to protect the city against damages that might have been caused by their activities. As an offhand example, without going into something like 3 pages of insurance policies, the commercial general liability policy minimum was $1 million under the current franchise. Under this, it is $5 million, so an increase 5-fold. Finally, with regards to the city's police powers, council, you are, with your positions, entitled to enact ordinances that sort of govern the rules of living in Arvada. Under the current franchise, the cable service provider Comcast could challenge any number of those ordinances that were enacted after the execution of the current franchise, with the mindset that they were made subject to the cable services or the cable franchising agreement. In the new proposed franchise, we've flipped the script there, so Comcast now understands that the terms of the agreement are expressly made subject to our police powers. That is, they still have the right to challenge an individual ordinance that would affect them disproportionately as a non-general application of the city's police powers, but it is now their job to prove it in court the same way a normal resident would, as opposed to us being in the unsavory position to file a court action to enforce our own laws. A couple of things that have changed to Comcast's benefit, and a brief explanation as to why. In the current franchise agreement, they have a right and an obligation to provide cable services to the city of Arvada and its residents. In the proposed franchise, that shifts. The obligation falls away. It is now just a right to provide cable services. Again, this is reflective of trends in the television industry and the cable services industry. More streaming services equals less cable services, and the increase in prevalence of streaming services may very well lead to a world in which it no longer makes financial sense for Comcast to provide cable services. If that occurs during the term of this agreement, then Comcast is allowed to stop providing those services if it no longer makes financial sense to do so. I do want to just be clear that there is still a reason to enter this agreement. The franchising fee and the PEG fees are still very much valuable to both us and to Comcast to provide these services, but ostensibly throughout the term of this agreement, that might change. Testing standards and requirements. This is another factor of the FCC's rule change. In the past decade, they have reduced the standards and requirements, citing them as outdated or obsolete. I am not going to pretend to know the technology required to provide cable services well enough to inform you as to what that looks like, but we have removed the stringent testing standards and requirements that were in the current franchise that were at the time reflective of the Cable Act standards, and instead just punted to the applicable regulations that are put forth by either the state, federal government, or whomever has authority to legislate in this area. So Comcast still has a requirement to provide excellent services to its customers and a requirement to test in the standards and requirements that are imposed by the federal government. This agreement is just silent on it, other than those two factors. And then finally, the number of channels that Comcast is required to serve at a minimum to a basic subscriber. In the current franchise, it is 110 channels. In the proposed franchise, that number is the greater of 100 or the no less than any other jurisdiction in Colorado is receiving. So theoretically, a potential a decrease of 10 channels to a lower level of 100, but like I said, no less than any other jurisdiction in Colorado, and several jurisdictions have already entered into franchise agreements, still securing that 110 channel requirement for the vast majority of this term. I think Loveland was in 2024. So at the very least until 2034, the city of Arvada, unless that agreement gets terminated early for whatever reason, will be guaranteed that still 110 channels. Additional highlights and changes to this sort of field. This agreement does require Comcast to access our right-of-way, and I know how deeply the council values that asset, as they should. Under the agreement, Comcast is required to be a collaborative partner. So they are required to the extent that they know about them, attend planning meetings, attend right-of-way access meetings, things like that. They are still required to submit to our permit process. They are still required to do everything that a contractor would generally do to access and cut into the city's right-of-way, including co-locate, things like that. The mixed use rule, this is another activity of the FCC. This is an agreement for cable services, but obviously Xfinity Comcast does provide internet services, phone services as well. Under the FCC, the cable services franchise that we are granting to Comcast, they are no longer required to seek any additional permissions to provide those other services, the other telecom services like internet or phone. That is just a state of federal law. There's nothing really that the city can do about it, but I did just want to highlight that change to you since it is fairly significant. And then finally, this agreement does have a 10-year term, but in the event that we end up in a similar situation to this where we are not able to finalize a franchise renewal by the end of that term, it will continue on a month-to-month basis. So that's already baked into the agreement and should provide the city and Comcast with stability should we get to the end of this agreement and want to renew again. Finally, based on all the factors that we have discussed today, the city team is recommending approval of the Comcast franchise renewal. First off, it is built from the ground up on the CCUA, that is the Colorado Communications and Utility Alliance, of which Arvada is a member, their model agreement. Throughout the term of their existence, they have negotiated upon or taken upon themselves to negotiate with cable service providers like Comcast and sort of create this model agreement that represents the best practices in the state of Colorado. We use that as the starting point for this agreement. The only changes to it were reflective of changes that other jurisdictions and Colorado in general has accepted after the publishing of the original model agreement, or things that changed directly to tailor to Arvada's interests. Like I've mentioned before, the material benefits that this proposed franchise as opposed to the current are significant for the city, and those provided to Comcast, while it does afford them a greater deal of flexibility, do not represent material detriments to the city, at least as things stand right now. And then finally, I wanted to make a point of introducing everybody at the beginning of this negotiation just because I wanted to show that it is the product of years of a collaborative negotiation. Comcast filed for their renewal in 2024, and for roughly 2 years since then, this has been a multi-team, multi-organization effort to put forth this agreement for you today. I do believe that it is fair to the city and that it would behoove the city for council to approve it tonight. With that, I would like to take any questions that...
Thank you. Quickly, do we have anyone in chambers who plans to speak on this item, including for the applicant? Seeing, we do have one. Okay, so first I'm going to have anybody who plans to speak on this item raise their right hand. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. There we go. And we'll welcome public comment, and then we'll do the council questions. Welcome back.
Hello. Oh, so do I need to swear in?
You're already sworn in, so go
Okay,
ahead.
thank you. My only concern, I guess, that I would just have with that would just be the level of insurance. Because with the insurance, I mean, does that insure the company? Does that insure the community of the customers that it does serve? Because currently in Colorado, it's very difficult for a lot of people to either get or maintain certain levels of homeowners insurance due to levels of fire risk. So anytime that there have been any type of, so that's why there's been such a huge push to try to bury any type of utility sources, like whether it is fiber optic cable, whether it's electric, whether it's internet. So when it does come to these type of services, there's a lot of different levels of infrastructure or city workers that need to be used in that. However, when it does come to certain things like utility lines like this, it doesn't matter if the company carries a certain level of insurance. What does concern me is what level of third-party contractors do they use? Because recently there have been large stories that have been coming out across the Southwest and the Midwest of companies, of places and communities in which they cannot get homeowners insurance due to levels of fire risk. And the only way that they can mitigate that is by burying utility lines. And in doing such, with burying these utility lines, and too many now in an increasing amount of documented cases, these third-party construction workers, when they're trying to bury these lines, they're sometimes affecting plumbing, they're sometimes affecting gas lines, and this has led to certain high levels of liability. So if there is an increased amount of insurance, I do raise the question of how much does this insurance protect the company itself and the community of the customers that they serve, or does this level of insurance hold little to no level of liability when it comes to working with third-party contractors? So obviously a community needs its media, it needs access to information, but when insurance is brought up as a level of benefit, I do wonder how conducive and how holistic is that level of coverage when the utility provider itself is working with either third-party construction workers, or if it is Comcast that's just providing the cable. What happens when all of their cables are connected to telephone poles that are owned by XL? So when it comes to the level of insurance, I do wonder what holistic level of coverage that provides, not only for the company to protect its own legal interests, but to protect the safety of the community that it serves, and then also for it to be of benefit to the city that allows it to come into the community as a public service. So that's just a concern that I would like to raise.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else in chambers who would like to give public comment on this hearing item? Seeing none, I will close public comment on the hearing and I will open it to council questions. Councilmember Davis.
If there isn't any discussion, I'll make the motion.
I have a couple of questions, actually. Come on up back. So, one, I think that's a great question since it's been posed by the public. Let's go ahead and answer it for the public. Would the insurance cover third-party liability if a contractor were being used?
So first, I did just want to highlight that it was $5 million per occurrence. So in any individual event that something bad happened, it is $5 million per event. As to the effect of insurance on third-party liability, I do think that Mr. Fellman would like to speak on this.
All right. Mr. Fellman, if you'll raise your right hand, swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, thank you very much. Welcome up.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Comcast is required to insure both its work and its contractors' work. It may do that from requiring its contractors to get insurance, but regardless of whether they do or not, if a contractor is working for Comcast and they cause damage to city property or to private property, the insurance required by the franchise should cover that damage. I believe there are also provisions in the city code that require similar obligations on any utilities working or with facilities in the rights of way that use contractors, regardless of whether they have a franchise agreement.
All right, thank you. And I have one additional question. It's specifically around the right to require and obligated in the removal of obligation. I remember we had a neighborhood quite a few years ago that didn't have, and so Comcast actually did go in and provide the cable infrastructure into that neighborhood. It was quite a wonderful thing, actually. I'm very grateful to Comcast for doing that. How many neighborhoods, roughly, and it's okay if we don't have the number right now, but do we have neighborhoods around the city that don't have any service provision whatsoever?
One?
There's one? Oh, sorry, can we come down to the microphone real quick? Right hand. See, this is why I like doing everybody at once. Right hand, swear to truth, truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth.
I do.
All right, thank you. Name and there we go.
Good evening. My name's Rick Osmus. I'm the Community Connectivity Manager for the City of Arvada. And just recently, Comcast committed to building out west of Indiana. In doing so, we were going HOA by HOA, subdivision by subdivision. And there was one right next to Forest Springs, and I apologize that I cannot remember the subdivision. The HOA opted out of Comcast to build in their prescribed right-of-way or easements. And so in doing so, now if they decide and change their mind 5 years down the road and they want Comcast to come in and provide, they're going to have to pay the bill instead of Comcast.
Okay, but we're only looking at one neighborhood.
That I am aware
that
of.
made this choice.
Yeah, other than that, Comcast has done a complete build-out in the city of Arvada.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
You bet.
All right, that was my only question. Councilmember Davis, you have the motion. I see no additional lights.
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation as well, Mr. Woolweaver. I moved CB 26-021, an ordinance approving the renewal of a non-exclusive franchise agreement for the use of the city rights of ways with Comcast of California, Colorado, Florida, Oregon, Inc. be approved on final reading number 4937 and ordered published by title only.
Thank you. All right, all votes are cast, but I'm going to beg privilege just for a moment to recognize Mr. Fellman. I believe this is one of the final opportunities he's going to have to come before us after a very, very long and prestigious career doing telecommunications law. Thank you very much, Mr. Fellman. And for those in the audience who may not be aware, Mr. Fellman also served as mayor of our city from 1999 to 2007, and so he's had a very wonderful career serving his community. So I just wanted to recognize Ken real quick.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate that. As many of you know, and many on staff know, I retired about a year ago, but I agreed to stick around and make sure a number of longer-term, bigger projects got to the finish line, and this was one of them. So as the mayor mentioned, this is probably the last project in my professional capacity anyway, in which I will have an opportunity to appear before you. I had the privilege of working for the city in the late 80s and early 90s. I know I'm dating myself. Before I began serving as an elected official, and then from after 2008 to the present. And this council, I have appreciated working with all 7 of you, with staff, and with all of your predecessors and your predecessors. And I know there's a few old timers like me who are still here, and it has been it's been a real joy. The city attorney's office in this city, I don't know if you know it, but in the last 35 years, many of the most well-respected city attorneys in Colorado, the people that people like me call when they have questions, came out of the Arvada City Attorney's Office. And Rachel has put together a great team. I've enjoyed working with every member of her team that I've been able to work with. They teach lawyers early in your career that you shouldn't pick favorites among your clients and you shouldn't get attached to your clients. And I've been privileged to work with hundreds and hundreds of local governments throughout the country during my career. But I have a favorite, and I just wanted to say thank you publicly to you and to the staff for the privilege of being able to work with this city in a professional capacity.
Thank you. That favorite had better be us. We'll see you tomorrow morning at Kiwanis. All right. With that, call the vote. That passes 6-0. Thank you to everyone for all your hard work. I know these kinds of agreements can be quite the big bear. So thank you for everyone for the hard work that you've put in, Mr. Woolweaver. All right, next I will open the hearing for the major modification from the Land Development Code 4531E to install a recycled crushed gravel driveway and parking surface area at a single-family residence in combination with the construction of a new garage and accessory dwelling unit that requires all off-street parking spaces to be on paved surfaces. A 0.34-acre parcel of land generally located at 6800 West 55th Avenue in the city of Arvada. Mr. Smetana, you have this item.
Thank you.
As you mentioned, the applicant is requesting approval of a major modification to allow a gravel driveway when the Land Development Code requires parking areas and drive lanes be paved with asphalt, concrete, or other equivalent materials. The applicant is proposing to construct an accessory dwelling unit, which would require compliance with the current code requirements. Due to the unique character of this property, with a depth that's approximately twice that of the surrounding lots, and the pre-existing gravel driveway, the city team supported the request. The Planning Commission unanimously recommended approval of the major modification at their June 17th meeting. Notice of this hearing was provided through publication in a local paper, mailed notice, and signs posted on the property. We have received the signed posting log and mailing affidavit. They are in order. We do have Senior Planner Chris Sandine and a member of our engineering team available for any questions you may have.
Thank you. Is there an applicant here to speak on this item, or would anyone in chambers? Yes. So go ahead and raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Absolutely.
All right, please come on forward.
Mike Lane, 6800 West 55th Avenue. Good evening, Council and Mayor. I've got a short PowerPoint. I don't want to take up everybody's time. I got an 1890s country home. It's got a cobblestone and cement foundation, and we're trying to preserve a little bit of Arvada history. It's a tiny house. My family is growing. My daughter's got 3 granddaughters, and I got a son got married, and maybe more coming. So we're deciding to put a little ADU and a garage in the back. The gravel driveway's probably been in place for a portion of the driveway for over 50 years. And that's the house. That's the ice house. This ice house, also built in 1890s, serviced Old Town Arvada. And that's still existing. We're trying to maintain it. And the cobblestone cement foundation is deteriorating because of moisture. This is the existing gravel driveway. We've extended it all the way to the back of the lot. That's the back of the lot. Getting prepared to build the ADU, so we're moving things around. So that's the existing lot and the proposed ADU. That's the proposed ADU. On the left side of the building will be a garage on the lower floor, and a storage area above the garage. On the right side of the building, a kitchen and a bathroom and a little living space on the bottom floor, and then a master bedroom above and another bathroom. That's a simulation or a rendering. I could have taken that slide out. I'll skip this slide. My house is on the right. The 1890s house. The house on the left, they did a major remodel, which includes 6 garages, and all this surface, oops, somehow that left away. On the left side, all that driveway surface is crushed concrete, compacted crushed concrete. And that's a good idea in a way. I think it's a little bit more stable in terms of driving heavy equipment on it, and they kind of run a business out of that home. But a crushed gravel, a designed crushed gravel driveway would do the same thing, and that's what I'm proposing. We'd have an underlayment, and that's where the garage would be, or the ADU rather. And this is all I'm thinking of doing is an underlayment, which will be permeable and hopefully prevent the clayey soils from entering the gravel, and then a gravel crush top. I reviewed, at the advice of some people within Arvada, I should review the Arvada Climate and Sustainability Action Plan. And I got draft up there. I'm not sure if that was approved, but we've added a bunch of trees. We lost 3 this year, probably because of the drought. We've added, unfortunately, we added grapevines, and apparently Japanese beetles love grapevines, so we're truly battling that daily. My neighbor took out a bunch of elms and a couple of really large cottonwoods, so we don't have any shade, and we're trying to rebuild that shade to our back of our lot. I think all this stuff really helps with maintaining permeable surfaces to not push water off into the sewer systems and indoor to the street, and let it naturally hydrate the groundwater with a pervious surface. And it completely eliminates a heat sink. Not completely, but it's going to reduce the amount of that heat sink by not having concrete, or definitely asphalt would be a huge mistake. And as I could earlier, you saw that driveway. It's just adjacent to the east-facing side of our house, within 5 feet of my foundation, which is a cobblestone and cement mixture, which is deteriorating, and we're keeping up on it. But all of this helps with sustainability in development review, noting small buildings and landscape. It's also part of the BEO2 plan, low impact design and private development. It also helps the TRO2-02 investigate opportunities to reduce the negative impacts of asphalt and concrete. And I'm free for any questions.
Is there anyone in chambers who'd like to give public comment on this item at this time? Seeing none, I will close public comment. I will open it to council questions and/or action. Mayor Pro Tem Mormon.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you for the presentation from the applicant. I guess my question is for staff around, this is a major modification that we're approving this evening, and the applicant brought up our climate action sustainability plan that we adopted the last meeting. So my question is, are there plans for us to look at this in our code so there's more flexibility for this type of surface development that is more permeable and reduces the heat source and all those types of things that were called out from the plan?
It's certainly something we can take a look at. However, we do require generally hard surfaces so that we don't have material impacting sidewalks and carried on to streets so that they'd impact our drainage system. So it's something we can take a look at, but that's the reasoning behind the requirement for a paved surface today.
Appreciate that explanation, and I guess, yeah, let's look at what is some best practices with helping to address some of those sustainability goals that we've set. Thank you.
All right. Councilmember Levison.
Thank you so much. That was the answer to my question, the reasoning behind that. Just wondering, are there any other Colorado communities that do allow recycled gravel or more permeable driveway surfaces?
Thank you, Councilmember. I did a quick research. We've got about 3 that have very similar language to what we have in terms of parking surface areas. But all of them also use that same similar compacted language, if you will. So there are different elements that you can to have permeable surfaces, such as pavers, such as ribbon driveways, those sorts of things. None of them specifically call out allowing recycled concrete, but a lot of them have similar language to what we have, and there is some gray area as to what could be allowed given their own municipality.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right. Councilmember Davis. I see you hitting that button. I'm just going to call you.
I was going to make the motion if there isn't any more.
I see no additional lights. All yours.
All right, I move that a major modification of the Land Development Code 4-5-3-1E to install a recycled crushed gravel driveway and parking surface at an area, surface area at a single-family residence in combination with the construction of a new garage and accessory dwelling unit that requires all off-street parking spaces be on paved surfaces, a 0.34 acre parcel of land generally located at 6800 West 55th Avenue in the city of Arvada be approved. This motion is based on the findings of fact adopted by the Planning Commission.
Thank you. If all council members will vote. Thank you. All votes are cast. That passes 6-0. Thank you very much. You have your driveway. And that ice house looks really, really cool.
It's pretty cool.
All right. Finally, I will open project annexation, rezoning, and conditional use for Revival Industrial, a 5.3980 acre parcel of land approximately located south of State Highway 72, east of 15350 State Highway 72 in the city of Arvada, county of Jefferson, state of Colorado. There are 3 items underneath this project. They are CB 26-022, an ordinance annexing certain land into the city of Arvada, Revival Industrial, a 5.3980 acre parcel of land approximately located south of State Highway 72, east of 15350 State Highway 72 in the city of Arvada, county of Jefferson, state of Colorado. CB 26-023, an ordinance rezoning certain land within the city of Arvada, Revival Industrial from Jefferson County SR-2 to city of Arvada MX-S, mixed use suburban, and amending the official zoning maps of the city of Arvada, Colorado, a 5.3980 acre parcel of land approximately located south of State Highway 72, east of 15350 State Highway 72, ordinance number 4939, and CB 26-024, an ordinance approving a conditional use permit for Revival Industrial, a 5.3980 acre parcel of land located approximately south of State Highway 72, east of 15350 State Highway 72, ordinance number 4940. Mr. Smetana, you have these items.
Thank you. As mentioned, the applicant is requesting approval of annexation, zoning, and conditional use for the development of an approximately 56,000 square foot commercial building. The subject property meets the 1/6 contiguity requirement of state annexation law and is therefore eligible for annexation into the city. The MXS zoning request is consistent with the comprehensive plan designation of mixed use in this area of the city. And the conditional use is required to allow for the potential light industrial uses within the MXS zoning district. The Planning Commission unanimously recommended approval of all 3 of the items during their May 6th meeting. Notice of the hearing was provided through publication in a local paper, mailed notice, and signs posted on the property. We have received the signed posting log and mailing affidavit, and they are in order. We have Senior Planner Julia Duncan here and members of our engineering team with if you have any questions.
All right. With that, would the applicant like to present on this item, or? You don't have to, but if you want to, you can. All right. Come on down. Raise your right hand. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. All right. Welcome.
Thank you. Again, as we spoke, this is a request to annex, hopefully that doesn't like that. Okay, you can do it for me, yeah. The request is to annex the subject property from Jefferson County into the city of Arvada, along with the rezoning of MXS and the approved of conditional use for light industrial uses. Next slide, please. The annexation and the rezoning request will allow for the property to be developed under the Arvada standards and coordinate with the city infrastructure and land use policies. Next one. Here's a highlight of where the site is. The site is, yes, south of Highway 72, west of Indiana Street. Along the southern border is the Union Pacific, and then we have neighbors, which are, one is the, I'll get it wrong, it's the beekeeper or the nursery, and a storage facility to the east. The annexation will allow the property to be developed under the Arvada standards and coordinate with the city infrastructure. All the utilities and the services have been obtained and approved for this development. Arvada Fire, Arvada Water, XL Energy and Gas, CDOT, right-of-way, public improvements along 72nd, and Apex Parks and Recreation. Next slide, please. Arvada's comprehensive master plan is designed in this mixed-use area and is recommending annexation of the property south of Highway 72 between Welton Reservoir and Indiana Street. Next one, please. The project is intended as a speculative commercial industrial building that can serve a wide range of tenants, including manufacturers, distributors, installers, and similar businesses uses consistent within the area. The site is designated to meet the city and CDOT's requirements while supporting a safe access delivery fire protection road, which is an access road along the northern boundary, which is separate from Highway 72. I want to thank staff. It has been a long journey. I want to thank the owner's rep. I want to thank the owner. But we really appreciate your consideration and approval of this development here. And then I leave it open for any questions that you may have.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone in chambers who would like to give public comment on this item? Seeing none, I will close the public comment portion of this evening's agenda and open it to council questions or action. Anybody? Bueller? Councilmember Levisone.
I'll reserve the motion.
Go ahead, I see no lights. So you'll take them, each one, we'll vote on each one at a time.
Okay, perfect. Let me just get my papers in order. So the first one is, sorry, I should have been more ready for this before.
Nope, it's okay.
Okay, so, alrighty. I move that CB 26-022, an ordinance annexing certain land into the city of Arvada, Revival Industrial, a 5.3980 acre parcel of land approximately located south of State Highway 72, east of 15350 State Highway 72 in the city of Arvada, County of Jefferson, State of Colorado, be approved on final reading numbered 4938 in order published by title only.
All votes are cast. That passes 6-0. Thank you very much. We'll take the next one.
I move that CB 26-023, an ordinance rezoning certain land within the city of Arvada, Revival Industrial, from Jefferson County SR-2 to City of Arvada, MX-S, mixed-use suburban, and amending the official zoning maps of the city of Arvada, Colorado, a 5.3980 acre parcel of land approximately located south of State Highway 72, east of 15350 State Highway 72, be approved on final reading numbered 4939 and ordered published by title only.
All votes are cast. That passes 6-0. And the final one, please.
All righty. I move that CB 26-024, an ordinance approving a conditional use permit for Revival Industrial, a 5.3980 acre parcel of land located approximately south of State Highway 72, east of 15350 State Highway 72, be approved on final reading numbered 4940 and ordered published by title only.
All right. Councilmember Ambrose, I need your vote on the last one. There we go. All votes are cast. Oh, apologies, guys. I accidentally hit clear vote. So one more time. Let's do that. All right. Councilmember Levisone, one more time. There we go. Thank you so much. That passes 6-0. They probably shouldn't put the display votes and the clear votes right next to each other. There we go. It's just, yeah, it just creates a big mess. Thank you. All right, that is all the public hearings for this evening's agenda. Next, we have our 5-minute public comment limit. Is there anyone in chambers who would like to give public comment at this time? I'm seeing Ms. Shannon give us a shake of her head. So with that, I will close public comment and open it to reports from City Council for any committee reports. Councilmember Levisone?
Perfect. So I'll be at the bid meeting tomorrow and we'll have more updates coming forward. And then just, can I just do a meet and learn? Okay. So the other thing is, since April, I've hosted Meet and Learn, and it's a conversation in the community, a way to make things feel a little bit more approachable, and I bring staff in on that. So when you have questions, we can try to have answers, and just wanted to let the community know this Thursday from 5:30 to 7 at Ralston Central Park Pavilion right by the splash pad. You can join myself and some of our amazing parks and utilities folks to talk parks and water. I think some of the community garden members will be there, so we should have a very, very delightful conversation, and I'll make sure there's snacks. So make sure to bring the kids and come chat Parks and Water if you enjoy that as much as I do.
Thank you. Councilmember Ambrose.
Thank you, Your Honor. I just wanted to report on a couple of my committees. One of the committees was the Audit Committee today, and I just want to, again, say congratulations to the city and the Financial Department, Vesta Miller, Brian, doing a wonderful job to give us, like, probably the best report we've had, so thank you so much for that. And then we also had the meeting today with the Fire Protection District. Really appreciate our fire department. They have, you know, people out for the Aspen Acres fire, but also people in Texas responding to floods as well. So really appreciate the close collaboration we have with the fire department.
Councilmember Griffith.
Thank you, Your Honor. I just wanted to bring something to the city's attention that's really important to me and express some gratitude. My wife is at home. It's her 40th birthday today with our 3 kids, and I'm here. That's all.
Wait till it's your own birthday. Mayor Pro Tem Mormon.
Thank you, Mayor, and happy birthday to Abby. I just want to report on the Scientific Cultural Facilities District is having listening sessions because we're going to start a reauthorization process that will be finalized in 2028 with the state legislature and a vote of the voters to approve that reauthorization. And so I attended the listening session last night on behalf of the Arvada Center, and this was for Jefferson County. They've been having them around different parts of the, is it 7 counties? Did I get it right? 7 counties that are included in SCFD. And so it was very interesting to hear from the different participants, from the different types of organizations that are part of this large district that I think we all benefit from. Not only, we think about the zoo and the museums and so forth, but we have some really small institutions as well that participate in the program that provide a lot of enriched culture for our communities. And in particular, of course, the Arvada Center is a great beneficiary of that program. And so I just wanted to call this out because I think there's a great opportunity for our community to be engaged in that process, to go to the SCFD website and look at, there's a couple of listening sessions coming up that are virtual, so that makes it really easy for folks to sign up for. And then there'll be some more engagement following that. But it is, it's a program that started back in the 80s, and it's time for us to think about, does it need restructuring? And I would advocate that it does, given that when it started in the 80s, we had a lot fewer organizations that were part of FCFD, and now we've grown leaps and bounds. And so there's a lot of constraints that are being put on those existing organizations that are participating now, where they can't get access to as much funding as they could if it was restructured. So I am a strong advocate for us looking at how that could be restructured and encourage everyone to participate in that engagement. So thank you.
Councilmember Davis.
Thank you. And along the lines of the SCFD, I think it's important for folks to know that we do work across the lines here in the region. As a matter of fact, tomorrow we will be having dinner with the Adams County Council of Governments, and we will be working together, and our own Jacqueline Rose will be giving a presentation. So very excited and looking forward to that. The Denver Regional Council of Governments. So when you hear us talking about Dr. Cog, that is what we're talking about. I sit on the Transportation Committee as well as the board, and we work together with everyone on the region so that we are working in lockstep so you can have a great transportation system, a workable transportation system within the region. And then finally, the Jefferson County Economic Development Corporation is busy bringing business to Arvada. So it's exciting that we have this housing plan where we can have housing for people to live and play where they work. It's very important. And that ends my report.
All right, my turn. Had the first meeting of the Metro Mayor's Caucus Public Safety Task Force, of which I am the inaugural chair of. Very excited about that. We had some really good sort of brainstorming, exploratory conversations. We talked about license plate readers. We talked about street racing. Essentially, what are the major issues that are facing the metro area, not necessarily statewide, but the metro area, and common things that we can work on together. If you have any thoughts out there in the public about issues you'd like to see the mayors focus on in terms of public safety, email me. I would love to hear from you. Been to lots of different events here recently. Want to commend local 4-H. They do beekeeping. I got to go out and put on the full bee suit. Councilmember Levison, I know, I was telling them to contact you. She actually keeps bees as well. So that was really, really cool. Got to look for the queen and all that stuff. Lots of block parties happening all over the city right now. August 4th is National Night Out, so we will not be having a council meeting on August 4th. We will still be here next week for July 28th, but National Night Out is coming out. If you are interested in your neighborhood doing something, but you don't know how to get started, please contact us here at the city. We have lots of great, sort of ideas, and we can just get the ball rolling for you. Then Hope Connection Community, one of our local nonprofits, had its annual gala. It was a luau theme this year. They do a lot of really great work in our city with low-income residents and families, making sure that they have things that they need. Otherwise, happy birthday to Abby, and congratulations to Jeffco EDC for hiring an incredible new executive director in our former Chamber of Commerce President, Cammie Welch. It's a great hire for Jeffco EDC, and Cammie's going to do great things there. All right, with that, Mr. Wick, anything from you this evening?
As you mentioned, next week we do have a workshop on water, wastewater, stormwater rates and fees. And we also have a workshop on the Human Services Grant. We'll be talking about those two things. And then it's hard to believe the next meetings were in August. So the mayor mentioned that we're canceled for August 4th for National Night Out. We look forward to that. We'll have an updated list of National Night Out locations on our website here pretty soon. And just for upcoming, on August 11th, we will be updating the council on the Parks Master Plan. On the 18th will be a regular business meeting, and then on the 25th of August, we will be having an update on the comp plan work.
Thank you.
That's it. Thank you.
Ms. Morales, anything from you this evening?
Nothing from me, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, we stand adjourned.